BYE, Episode 13, Legal Terminology. Hello, and welcome back to BYE, Boost Your English. If you follow legal thrillers or watch courtroom dramas, you know that understanding the vocabulary of law and order is non-negotiable. Today, we're tackling precision in its most critical form, legal terminology. We'll master the words that distinguish the players and the procedures in a formal legal setting. This knowledge will give you instant authority in any formal discussion and let you follow your favorite shows without missing a beat. Let's dive into the courtroom. The players and institutions. Claimant, the person or party who brings a case against another in a court of law. In American legal dramas, you will often hear this person referred to as the plaintiff. Defendant, the person or party accused of committing a crime or having harmed the claimant. To prosecute, the action taken by the state or government to formally accuse and bring criminal charges against a defendant. Jury, a body of citizens selected to render a verdict, which is a formal decision, based on the evidence presented in court. Witness, a person who has seen or heard an event and provides testimony in court. Barrister, a lawyer who is qualified to argue a case in court, especially in higher courts. In the United Kingdom, a solicitor usually prepares the case behind the scenes, while the barrister argues it in front of the judge. Subpoena, a legal document issued by a court that requires a person to attend court or provide documents. Failure to comply is a serious offense. Procedures and outcomes. Verdict, the formal finding or decision made by the jury, such as guilty, not guilty, or liable. To appeal a decision, to formally ask a higher court to review the decision of a lower court, usually based on an error in the legal process. To settle a case, to reach a mutual agreement between the claimant and the defendant outside of court, usually involving a financial payment or a compromise. Due diligence, the reasonable steps taken by a person or company to satisfy a legal requirement, especially before entering into a contract or a financial agreement. Breach of contract, the failure to fulfill an obligation or term specified in a binding legal agreement. To uphold a decision, to confirm or maintain a previous decision. If a higher court upholds a verdict, the original decision stands firm. Contracts and accountability. Liability, a state of being legally responsible for something, especially financial debt or structural damage. Terms and conditions, the specific rules, clauses, and stipulations that form the foundation of a contract or agreement. Binding contract, a formal agreement that is legally enforceable. Once signed, both parties are strictly obligated to fulfill the terms. Contempt of court, the act of disobeying or disrespecting the rules, orders, or the authority of a court of law. Key vocabulary and expressions explained. Claimant, a person making a claim, especially in a lawsuit or state benefit context. For example, the insurance company requested further evidence before releasing the funds to the claimant. Defendant, an individual, company, or institution sued or accused in a court of law. For example, the defendant maintained his innocence throughout the entire cross-examination. To prosecute, to institute legal proceedings against a person or organization. For example, the Crown Prosecution Service decided to prosecute the rogue trader for fraud. Barrister, a type of lawyer in the UK who has the right of audience in all courts. For example, the senior barrister presented a compelling closing argument to the jury. Subpoena, a writ ordering a person to attend a court. For example, the financial director received a subpoena to produce the company accounts in court. Verdict, a decision on an issue of fact in a civil or criminal case. For example, after deliberating for nearly 10 hours, the jury finally delivered a unanimous verdict. To appeal, to apply to a higher court for a reversal of the decision of a lower court. For example, the defense team confirmed their intention to appeal against the conviction next month. To settle, to resolve a dispute or lawsuit sustainably without a full judicial trial. For example, the two tech firms chose to settle their patent dispute out of court to avoid bad publicity. Due diligence, reasonable steps taken by a person in order to satisfy a legal requirement. For example, the legal team carried out extensive due diligence before finalizing the corporate merger. Breach of contract, an act of breaking the terms set out in a binding agreement. For example, failing to deliver the building materials on the agreed date constitutes a clear breach of contract. Liability, the state of being legally responsible for something by law. For example, the independent safety report established clear corporate liability for the factory accident. Contempt of court, disobedience to or disrespect of a court of law and its officers. For example, the witness was warned that shouting at the judge could lead to a charge of contempt of court. That concludes our deep dive into legal terminology. Whether you are watching a detective interview a witness or following a claimant serve a subpoena, you now have the tools to understand the core issues of the legal system. Remember, precision in this area is non-negotiable. Thank you for tuning in to BYE, Boost Your English. We'll be back soon with the next episode, which will take a more creative turn, The Master Craftsman and the Sleeping Dragon. The comments are now open on YouTube, so please feel free to share your reactions, ideas, and requests in the spirit of mutual respect. Keep boosting your English. Bye for now.
Boost your English, it's the key. Listen to BYE.